Hey everyone, Wolf Lord Rho here. Before I begin today, a big thank you to Kanako for the virtual gift voucher. Huge thank you my friend for the support, it is truly appreciated, thank you. But on to today. Today we discuss Guilliman's alliance with the Eldari. Is the Ultramarines Primarch digging his own grave? With the Imperium he is trying to save. Spoiler warning to begin, the events we are discussing today are from the Warhammer 40k novel Dark Imperium Godblight by Guy Haley. As always, I really recommend you read the story for yourself first, as that's the best way to enjoy the lore for yourself. Not only that, we help to support the great Games Workshop and Black Library, because without them we don't have this amazing lore to talk about. I'll put a link to the novel in the description. But with that said, let's just jump straight in. Okay, now to me some of the most interesting moments in Godblight took place long before the battles came to pass, and it revolved around Guilliman's circle of psychers. The Councilia Psychana, as they are known, are a council of librarians who serve the Indomitus Crusade. However, in essence, they operate as Guilliman's circle of advisors. And while a strategic mind such as Guilliman having advisors is nothing mind-blowing, he always has in some capacity or another, the fact that it's a council of psychers is intriguing. Of course, chapter librarians are some of the most intelligent members of the Adeptus Astartes, acting as advisors to their many chapter masters. And considering the state of the galaxy at large, the nature of the enemy they face, namely Chaos Demons, having the council of those psychically attuned does make perfect sense. However, maybe it's just me, but it certainly all had a very mystical air about it, and it almost felt a little King Arthur with Merlin. Except Guilliman of course has a whole council of Merlins, and that's not a bad thing. It actually adds an extra level of mystery and intrigue. There's even a Grey Knight on the council, which just adds to the mysteriousness of it all, because as we've discussed previously, knowledge of this chapter is one of the most tightly regarded secrets within the entire Imperium. However, despite all this, that's not even the most surprising thing, for Guilliman has an Eldar upon this council, Ilian Nataze, a Farseer of Craftworld Ulfway. Now Ilian was dispatched by Eldred Ulfran himself to assist the returned Ultramarines Primarch, and this character is a subtle wink and a nod back to the very different first edition of Warhammer 40k, when there was actually an Ultramarines chief librarian with the same name, and he was half Eldari. Like I said, the very first edition of 40k was very different to the 40k we eventually had. Now, I'm sure some people won't see this as a particularly big thing, Guilliman having been resurrected by Eldari assistants after all, and of course you could be right. But regardless of his previous discomfort at the thought of Eldar having something over him, I think this is a very important decision by Guilliman, and one that could very easily come back to haunt him. The Imperium has always been very anti-Xenos. The Great Crusade itself was a crusade to claim the galaxy for mankind, and mankind alone. There was no place for any Xenos race. The Imperium now, after 10,000 years, is, if anything, even worse. The merest hint of Xenos' involvement on a world is heresy. enough to bring the full force of the Inquisition, or an Adept Astartes chapter, down upon the world. Yes, there may have been dubious truces or alliances formed on a battlefield in the past by certain commanders, such as Dante with the Necrons, in the face of a Tyranid hive fleet. But make no mistake about it, none of these moments would have been approved by the Imperium. So if we compare that to now, when here we have the Lord Commander himself allowing Eldari into his closest council, and there's even Eldari forces assisting in the far reaches of Ultramar, though the craft world Orthway itself, has to be said, lies across the Great Rift. This would be raising eyebrows and causing shockwaves all around the political spectrums of the Throne World, at the very best of times, let alone now, when Guilliman is already embroiled in a whole host of political strife. I mean, he's already faced an uprising by the High Lords of Terror. There's only so many times he's going to be one step ahead of the game in regards to their plots and schemes. And then it was just fear at what a Primarch may do with his return, let alone if this proof escapes to wider knowledge. The returned Primarch himself consulting with Xenos, having one of them in his inner council, his most trusted advisor. Now of course he may not be his most trusted advisor, but we all know how the rumour mill works. It's one small step from having an Eldar as a counsellor to them controlling Guilliman's actions. It could just feed many people's worst suspicions and fears. And Guilliman for his part knows this. Nataze's presence within his council is kept as a secret, at least as best as these things can be. Only the most trusted Astartes and crew under Guilliman's command even bear witness to his continued presence. And Guilliman obviously feels the trust and loyalty is unwavering. The actions Nataze is continued to be involved in are secret only to the council itself. Though perhaps the Grey Knight could be said to be a weak link here, for he will surely report everything he has seen once he returns to Titan. And Guilliman's actions when it comes to the demonic are beginning to be a little extreme too, such as interrogating a possessed soul. However, back to the Eldar, it certainly feels if this is the first step to something larger, maybe even a grander clandestine military alliance, which again is something I can only imagine Guilliman must run the risk of secrecy with. Unless there's to be some major political upheaval, there is no way the powers that be upon Terra would take kindly to an alliance with any form of Xenos. And one thing is for sure, when it comes to consorting with Xenos, I can't help but get the feeling Guilliman is walking a very thin line, and he may just live to regret it, one way or another. But as always guys, what do you think? What do you think about Guilliman having an Eldari upon his closest circle of advisors, having Nataze involved in his dubious actions? Is Guilliman walking a political tightrope? If word of this were to escape, will it come back to haunt him? And is this all leading to a wider alliance with the Eldari? And can they even truly be trusted? The Eldari, as we know, are only interested in furthering their own survival. They will help Guilliman, as long as it is in their own interests. How long will it be until they begin serving themselves? Or has it already begun? As always guys, leave your thoughts in the comments below, I love to read them. Huge thank you to all my subscribers, your support truly means a lot to me, it really does. And if you're new, please consider subscribing to help the channel grow. And if you enjoyed this particular vid, then why not drop a like on it too. But with that said, I am off, and I'll see you all again real soon.